Hello and welcome back to Tech and EduSparkHub, where technology meets education. Have you ever wanted your code to make decisions on its own like a robot choosing what to do next? Well, that is exactly what conditional statements do in Python. In this video, I'm going to show you how to use the powerful if and else statements, why indentation is super important in Python, and how to use comparison operators like what you are seeing on the screen. And by the end of this lesson, you will not only understand how your program can think logically, but you'll also be writing smarter, more interactive code that react to situations just like you would. Stick with me till the end because I have got some practice challenge that will test your new skills. Firstly, let's understand the use and the importance of the if and else conditional statements. The if and else conditional statement is used to make decisions based on the choices of conditions available. In real life, we make decisions every day. Take for example, we say if it is raining, take an umbrella. Notice the starting of my sentence. It says if it is raining, take an umbrella. Else, just walk freely. You can see we have two conditions there. The first condition is telling us that if it is raining, take an umbrella. Else, just walk freely. So this is a choice of two conditions. And in Python, conditionals allows our program to do the same thing, make choices based on the conditions available. To practicalize this, let's say we are writing a program for voters eligibility verification, where we'll be checking if voters are above or below 18 to let them know if they are eligible to vote or not. And to do this, we have to prompt the user first by letting them know what this program is all about. And to do this, we can just simply use the print function to let the user know, welcome, let's use a capital case, to voters eligibility verification. And this way, the user can be able to know what this program is all about. And to start with, remember I said we can use the conditional statement if and else to check if a condition is true or false. Up next, we'll be asking the user what is your age or how old are you, whichever way you put it, because whatever age they enter is what we'll be checking to let them know if they are eligible to vote or not. And since we'll be expecting a response or an input from the user, we can just simply use the input function to prompt the user, what is your age? And this way, to get a hold of this user input or this user age, we can just simply assign this line of code to a variable called age using the equal sign. And this way, whatever the user will input to these lines of code, we can easily get a hold of it using this variable called age. And since the user will be entering a whole number to these lines of code, you know it is not possible for a user to enter a decimal as an age. That doesn't seem right. The possible value is a whole number, and the whole number data type we have is known as integer. So we can just simply declare these lines of code as an integer data type because currently it is on string data type. And to declare these lines of code as an integer data type, we can just simply put the int function in front of this input function. And this way, we have successfully declared these lines of code as an integer data type. And whatever number the user enters to these lines of code, we can easily get a hold of it using this age variable without getting any error because we have declared this as an integer data type. Now, this is where it gets more interesting because in this next part, I'll be showing you how to check their age to let them know if they are eligible to vote or not using the conditional if and else statements. To use the conditional statement to check the eligibility, the if statement comes first, and notice how the editor changes the color. And this is to tell us that this is an inbuilt function. So with this if statement, what are we checking for? We can just simply say if age is greater than 18 with a colon, and this colon is just to tell us that in our next line an indentation is expected. So this is to tell us that whenever we are writing the if or else conditional statement, we have to put a colon at the back of our condition or at the back of our sentence. because with this colon, an indentation is expected when we click on enter on the keyboard button. And it is on this indentation that we can put what we want to happen if this condition is true. So if age is greater than 18, which means if the condition is true, we can just simply print you are eligible to vote. And this way, if this condition is true, which means if age is greater than 18, this will be prompted to the user to let them know you are eligible to vote. And this is the work of the conditional statement. Take for example, I did not put this colon at the back of this if conditional statement. You can see our code is already screaming at us. And let's click on this to see what happens. You can see it is telling us that a colon is expected at the back of this if conditional statement. So to correct this, we can just simply put the colon at the back of this statement. Or let's say I decide not to put an indent in front of this print function. You can see our code is already screaming at us with this error highlight, and when we click on this error highlight, you can see it is telling us that an indent is expected. So to get rid of this error, we can just simply put the indentation in front of this print function. And indentation is just like clicking on your spacebar 4 times or using the tab bar, and this way you can see there's no more error in our code and everything is all working good now. So these are two things to note when writing the if or else conditional statement. Firstly, we have to put a colon at the back of our condition as seen on the screen. And secondly, following the condition, we have to put an indentation so as to carry out the condition as shown on the screen. So just like this, if age is greater than 18 with a semicolon, print you are eligible to vote, which means if this condition is true, prompt the user you are eligible to vote. And this is what this line of code is telling us. And on the other hand, we have the else statement, which is the blank opposite of the if statement. And the else statement doesn't take any input. Just like the example we had earlier at the beginning of this lesson, we said if it is raining, take an umbrella, else just walk freely. If you look at it, you can see the if statement is checking a condition. If that condition is true, if it is raining, take an umbrella, which means if the condition is true, do this. And the else statement on the other hand is not taking any input, which means else or if this condition is not true, do this. So that's the work of the else statement, which means it is countering the if statement by saying if that condition is not true, just do this. So it doesn't take any input unlike the if statements that check for the condition if the condition is true. To write the else statement, we can just simply write the word else on the same paragraph as the if statement. You can see the if and the else statements are on the same paragraph. And like I said earlier, the else statement doesn't take any input because it is just standing as a counterpart to this if statement. So all we just have to do here is to put the colon in front of this else statement. And when we click on enter, it is going to automatically indent for us. And we can just simply prompt the user if this condition is not true. And that is what the else statement is standing for. So if age is less than 18, you can just simply prompt the user, sorry, you are not eligible to vote. And to do this, we can just simply use the print function to tell the user, sorry, you are not eligible to vote. And this way, we have successfully write our voters eligibility verification code. In this if statement, this age is standing for whatever input the user will input to these lines of code. So if age is greater than 18, it is going to tell the user you are eligible to vote. And this else statement, which means if age is less than 18, it is going to tell the user, sorry, you are not eligible to vote. But before we run this code, we can just simply come to this age variable to make the user to enter the input on another paragraph with the help of the backslash and the end character before the closing of our string. And this way, when the user wants to make an input to these lines of code, the user can successfully make the input on another paragraph. So when I run this code, it is going to ask what is your age. Let's say I enter an age that is greater than 18. Let me just put 20 here. And when I click on enter, you can see it bring out you are eligible to vote because this condition is true, which means age is greater than 18. So it print out you are eligible to vote. Let's rerun the code and put an age that is lesser than 18. Let's say I put 16. You can see it tells me, sorry, you are not eligible to vote, which means it has checked this condition first and this condition is not true. And that's how it brings out this else statement, which tells me, sorry, you are not eligible to vote. And this is how the conditional if and else statement works, because it will check if this condition is true first, and if it is true, it is going to print out what is indented under that condition. And if this condition is not true, it is going to go to this else block and print what is indented under the else block. And there you have it. Another thing we have to learn is the use of the comparison operators. Let's say in our case here, we run this code and we enter an age that is equal to 18. Let's say I put 18 in this age. When I click on enter, you can see it tells me, sorry, you are not eligible to vote. Meanwhile, in some other countries, when you are 18 and above, you are eligible to vote. So how can we make this age to start counting from 18 and above, so it can be printing out you are eligible to vote even if the user enter 18 as the age? And to do this, this is where the comparison operator works. And these are the list of the comparison operators we have and the common ones we'll be using mostly in our code. You can see them on the screen as display right now. You can master all these comparison operators because we will need it mostly in our code. And to correct this code, we can just simply come to this if statement and say if age is greater or equals to 18, so it will print out to the user that you are eligible to vote. So when we run this code and I enter 18 as an age, you can see it print out you are eligible to vote to these lines of code, because I've put this comparison operator in this if statement, which means if age is greater or equals to 18. So that means it will start counting from 18 and above. And this is the work of the comparison operators. And we'll be learning more about all these comparison operators as we progress further in writing our codes. Now you have mastered the basics of the if and else conditional statements, indentations, and comparison operators. In the next video, we will step it up with the elif and multiple conditions, so your code can even handle more complex decisions. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss the next. And until then, keep learning, keep exploring, and let's keep building together.